So one of the directions that I ended up deciding to take the channel is we decided to start our own little farm. Now it's going to start small in the beginning, but and this is the beginning. So we're planning on having you cut flowers. So these are all different kinds of flowers. Those are sunflowers, and then we got some pumpkins starting. These are peppers. These are there's a bunch of little guys that are about to come up. So these just took a little longer to go. And then those are a bunch of onions. These are some more mature onions that are going. And eventually, we're hoping to take what we learned with this experiment of using like a grow light to grow. I know someone's going to ask, no, there's no marijuana. We don't do that. Yeah, and I'm a little bit congested. I've been under the weather. So this has been a little project, and this year we're hoping to have you cut flowers, pumpkins, and sunflowers at the property. We're going to try and grow quite a few onions. We have bigger onions, as I said. These will be producing sooner than later. Those will be like in the ground in the spring. And then we're going to have habanero, jalapenos, some sweet peppers. So basically your standard corn varieties, good Lord. Your standard salsa varieties. And then over there we got, I'm trying to remember, somewhere in here is a whole bunch of different kinds of tomatoes. I think some of those are tomatoes that are still coming up. And over here, I think are a special kind of salsa related tomatoes. So we have a variety of things here. We literally did this on like a Rubbermaid table or Lifetime, whatever. You know what I'm saying, a table. One light from Amazon. I usually come down here and work in the basement, fairly often. So I just turn all the lights on. It's not a super big, expenditure to do. We have LED lights in our can lights. So we have these that run 12 hours on. I think it's like 2 or 3 hours off or something. But basically with this stuff, your best bet is to have like more than 15 hours of light a day, more like 18. One of the things that I wanted to experiment with is I know the marijuana growers, like the big grow houses, they literally gas-proof the buildings. And then they pump in CO2, so they suck all the oxygen out and pump in a whole bunch of CO2. And of course they have lights on, I'm sure, full time. So as we grow this in scale, I would like to investigate taking what the marijuana growers have figured out and applying it to vegetables so that we can have literally year-round vegetables in a greenhouse of sorts, but a more controlled environment that we don't have to depend on the sun. And that's fine, but the sun only shines so many hours a day. In the wintertime, you have less light, less intensity of light. So what we're looking at is with how cheap LEDs are to run is to what am I trying to think here? I got under the weather brain going on. We literally use distilled water. We use a little spritzer to start off with, and I still use this. I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing, but I try to keep things moist, and then we use a bigger water. And these are kind of all over the place because they're literally flowers. This one I broke. That was my fault. I'm kind of a big guy, so like I have to be careful with my hands because I'm not very gentle. So this is our project. We're just literally doing it in our basement. We're going to scale it out at some point, but I wanted to kind of show the direction that I'm trying to, and somewhat take the channel. We're going to obviously be doing outdoor stuff and whatever, but we decided as a family that we wanted to do more of a homestead kind of lifestyle as opposed to be with the variation prices all of you guys have seen, be a little bit less dependent on what a grocery store sells. So we're trying to do things a little bit more homegrown and maybe have some surplus to be able to sell it. So that's kind of our plan. As you can see, we got a little, it's some kind of a blend of, this row is tomatoes. They're salsa blend tomatoes. So, oops, my finger's not here. The second row is salsa blend tomatoes. We got one poking its head up. The back row is habanero. This one grew right away because that seed somehow ended up on the sidewall. Don't know about that. This one is a sweet banana pepper. Then something hybrid. So this is one mistake we made. So for some reason when I ordered these 200 place trays from Amazon, they came with these nice little plastic things, but they only came with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's like they put in, because there's 10 slots here if I'm not mistaken, this way. So they only put in enough for one. Unless I'm going crazy, they gypped us a little bit. So we had to improvise and use the seed packets, which isn't really the greatest idea. But it's going to work because we know basically everything we put in here, we save the packets because we didn't use all the seeds, so we have the packs just saved, so we have a pretty good idea what's in here. So this is what we're trying to do. These all grew from nothing. So we have, our goal here is to be able to have our salsa garden again. Last year we had a great salsa garden, and my family all liked the salsa that we made, and we were hoping to be able to make some of that. Now we have to conform with Michigan laws. I do know you can't sell processed salsa without having a certified kitchen, and we were going to look into that as a future thing, but I want to make salsa for myself. Most importantly, but we wanted to be able to sell the raw material so that other people can make salsa. So in the future, I think that, we can take what we learned here. I mean, I can't really tell you too much that we learned. We basically went by gut feeling, and so far it's worked out fine. In terms of how much watering to do, in terms of how we planted it, in terms of basically maximizing light. I mean, we literally leave this on as much as we can. And because I was sick, I got a tiny bit behind on watering this batch because they used a lot of water. This one you can see is a little bit unhappy, but I think that I just watered it, and I think that it's going to unhappyify itself, or happyify itself. So yeah, so we're going to have jack-o'-lantern pumpkins is the point, so people can pick their own pumpkins. And this is a whole lot cheaper. I mean, there's 200 cells here. And assuming you had like 50% success, so you had 100 plants come out of this, which I think will be a lot over that already. It's doing pretty well. You're saving a substantial amount. I mean, you could easily have a vegetable garden if you're buying all the plantable, like all the tomatoes, all the pepper plants. I mean, you could have a several $100, if not more, vegetable garden just to have for your family. So we're talking a pretty we might have $40 into this, and we already had this. We have a what is that called, an aloe plant, because sometimes you get sunburns, so we call him Eduardo, and family guy. So he grew, boom, boom, and then we got a bigger one for him. So these 2, 3, this came out of an onion that had decided to sprout in the bag somehow. So we literally split the onion. Usually onions have 3 internal pieces when they try and sprout. So we broke it apart and put the smaller one in the smaller box, the 2 in the bigger box. And yeah, so this is what we're trying to do. So we're trying to be a little bit more independent, especially as costs are getting out of control. And yeah, so if you like this kind of content, and we're obviously going to mix this in with, truck stuff and trail riding, I hope this summertime. I'm hoping to get my daughter out on some trails. I'm not sure if a side-by-side is going to have to be in the future or what, but yeah, we're going to try, and for sure some camping. We're going to try and intermix some of this in here, some farming related, because we're basically starting a farm from nothing. So, we're starting with the land, then we have to build barns, then we have to, start making some money, and so that's what we're doing. So this is a bit of a preview, and like I said, please like and subscribe if you are interested in said content. I know this kind of bridges the gap. We might not all have the same political views or whatever, being that sometimes truck guys are in a different kind of realm than people who are growing vegetables, but we all like to cook. That kind of goes across the aisle, and it's always best to have the freshest and most clean materials that you can have when you're cooking. So I think that's something that we can all come together and agree on. So that's what we're trying to do, and sorry for the congested nose, but I wanted to try and make this as we had, some success with this, and I'm excited to see how these grow, and we'll keep doing updates with it. And yeah, so our end goal, if anyone else is trying to go down this route, our end goal is basically to start with the small stuff, and we're looking to hopefully get into potentially some livestock, potentially some custom beef related stuff, and maybe Thanksgiving turkeys, maybe some broiler chickens, meat chickens. So yeah, we're kind of planning on using the land and growing things with it. So if you guys want to be along for that ride, if you're not already subscribed. Thank you all, everyone who made the channel a 100 subscriber channel. Thank you all. I appreciate it. It feels really good. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. So I wanted to do an update, and I'm sorry for the delay. Those of you who have been a subscriber for a while, this is obviously a small and growing channel, and I am a young father, and my daughter's young, and therefore we are very busy. So sometimes it doesn't quite produce the most amount of free time. Those of you who are parents who remember back to the Terrible Twos, sometimes it doesn't produce as much free time as you might want. So we're trying to maximize that amount of free time, and I'm trying to do the best I can to grow my channel within the amount of free time that I have. So thank you all for being loyal, and thank you for taking the time. And like I said, it truly means a lot to me. And anybody else willing to hit the subscribe button, it is free. It doesn't cost you anything, and it makes a huge difference going down the road, because a channel trying to grow, the hardest thing that it can do is add subscribers. So if you can just take the time and subscribe, I would really, really appreciate it. So you all have a wonderful spring, and hopefully I'll be a little more regular this spring in uploading things. So thank you all, and have a great day.